While I'm at Josh's shop, I figured I'd look at this 3500 single rear wheel cabin chassis Ram pickup truck. This is a brand new truck. I want to show you the back section of this truck since it's fully open and exposed. So here's a tool you haven't seen me get out in a while, my trusty little caliper, zeroed out. The frame rails on this truck don't look like they're a 1/4 inch thick, but I'm going to find out. They are right at 0.23 inches thick. I'm going to try it again in another spot. Zero out the caliper. So right at 0.229 inches thick. So again, I hate to do comparisons all the time, but the open C-channel frame on the new Ram chassis cab is slightly thinner than the 1/4 inch thick C-channels on the Ford chassis cab. You can still see though that when you get a chassis cab version of a truck, the leaf spring setup is completely different. So on this truck you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 main leafs, and then you have 2 smaller overload leafs on the top. Let's get all up into this so you can see the axle of this truck. So here's the rear axle of this truck. It's an AAM axle. So here is your DEF fill nozzle and your diesel fill nozzle. So right here, midship is your diesel tank. And your DEF tank is tucked up right here, right inside of the back door area underneath. Both Ram and Ford adopt a 3-inch wide leaf spring. Here's your DPF, EGR sensors, temperature sensors. This is an area right here that's kind of interesting because the frame rail is just extremely tall. I mean, this frame rail is probably close to 13 or 14 inches tall. And that's different than on the Ford truck and the GM trucks. On the Ford and GM trucks, the frame essentially stays the same height all the way through right here, but the Ram truck really tapers this down and makes this a very massive section right here at the midship portion of the truck. This is a fully E-coated frame as well. You probably can't see the sticker on this truck, but it carries a $52,020 price tag. $52,020. This is a 4-wheel drive Tradesman edition. Anyways, guys, they had this truck up here at Truck Masters. They're going to be doing some work on it. I'll ask them what they're doing, but just wanted to give you a quick overview of this chassis cab version from Ram. So guys, I spotted this 2017 Ram 5500 HD dually pickup truck, and I had to show you it. This is a cab and chassis version of the truck. Also has the wide front axle, just like the Ford F450 and up. You can tell by the 3-inch wider extended front fenders on this truck, and gives it a far better turning radius than a truck without it. I truly believe that Ram should somehow incorporate this onto a pickup truck body. I think it just benefits the consumer. This has the 19.5-inch wheels and tires, but on this particular truck they are steel wheels, 10 lug. Very similar setup with the front end as the Ford uses, except this has a 4-link system up front. Look how thick the axle is. It's about a 1/2 inch thick. But again, it does have that wide track front axle on this truck as well, which permits a much greater turning angle than a truck without it. That needs to be on the Ram 3500 as well, I think, as an option, or even if they make a 4500 to compete against the F450. Here's the rear section of this truck. Now, this particular truck is different than the 3500 single rear wheel chassis cab. This uses 1/4 inch thick steel, just like the Ford does. This truck also has a frame reinforcement piece right here, which reinforces the main frame rails of the truck in this area where you generally get a lot of weight and stress applied to it when you have vocational bodies attached to the truck. The leaf spring setup on this truck is massive as well. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 main leafs with 2 small overload leafs. And the leaf springs in general are a much thicker material than on the 3500 single rear wheel version of this truck. Also, just the mounts themselves up here are casted versus stamped steel. Exact same tires as what comes on the F450, the Continental HSR tires. This truck has a Dana S111 rear axle, so it's not the same S130 that came on the previous edition of the Ford, but it is a massive Dana S-Series axle. Also has a 444 rear axle ratio. The fuel tank on this truck is simply massive. And you have a dual fuel tank option on this truck with this extremely large rear fuel tank as well as a midship fuel tank. And up here you'll also see your DEF fill nozzle coming off the side. Let's look at the transmission tunnel on this truck. Here's your diesel particulate filter, EGR sensors, temperature sensors. This is a Tradesman edition, has a sticker of $50,970. This does come with the Cummins turbo diesel engine. So a couple pros and cons about this truck. The pro from the 5500 and 4500 series Ram is that you do get the wide track front axle, which is going to give you a ridiculously good turning radius. Secondly, you get a beefed up open C-channel frame in the back of the truck, which is also really nice. The 19.5 inch 10 lug wheels, well, that's kind of an iffy depending on what you're looking for. Steel is the only option on this specific package, even though I know that they do make a 10 lug aftermarket aluminum Alcoa wheel for this truck as well. I've seen them on ambulances and other upfitted vehicles. The biggest downside of this particular truck is going to be the harsh ride. Anytime you go to one of these incredibly multi-leaf based leaf spring setups that you get on these medium duty trucks, the ride is going to suffer greatly, and you just want to keep that in mind if you're going to try to use a truck like this, especially in a crew cab configuration as an RV hauler or even a daily truck, simply because it has much stiffer rear suspension on it due to those leaf springs. The engine on this truck will also be derated, so it will not be the same horsepower that you can get on a high output Cummins engine available on the pickup. Very similar to the Ford setup. If you get a Ford F450 550 cabin chassis truck, you will have a derated power stroke also. However, for most people, that's not really going to be a big factor. You're going to have more than enough power with this truck or any variation of this truck to pretty much haul anything you could attach to it. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to take a minute to make a video on this pretty awesome truck. If you guys like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks, everyone.